How about this stunning nebula shot? Most people would think that you need a $3,000 tracking mount to get results like this, but that's just not true. Hi, I'm Carl Pereira from Astro Imagery, and I've spent years turning simple gear into cosmic masterpieces. Today, I'm showing you exactly how you can capture your first deep sky photo. Tonight, with nothing but the camera you already own and a basic tripod. We'll go step by step from a plain, noisy image to a jaw-dropping shot you'll be proud to share. If you want more beginner-friendly, budget astrophotography tutorials, hit subscribe now and join our growing community. By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to start capturing the cosmos. No fancy gear, no experience required. Let's dive in. Okay, let's talk about gear. This is usually the part where people get scared off, but I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. You do not need to drop thousands of dollars. The whole philosophy here is to use what you already have. First up, a camera. Any DSLR or mirrorless camera from the last 10 years or so will do the trick. The only thing it absolutely must have are a full manual mode, so we can control the settings, and the ability to shoot in RAW format. We'll get into why RAW is such a huge deal later, but for now, just know it's non-negotiable for getting results. Second, you need a lens. Now, your first instinct might be to grab the biggest telephoto lens you can to zoom right into your target. That's actually the exact opposite of what we want to do. Without a tracker, long lenses will give you star trails almost immediately. The sweet spot for this technique is a moderate focal length, somewhere between 50 millimeters and 135 millimeters. A classic nifty 50 millimeter lens is the perfect and often the cheapest place to start. Third and last, you'll need a tripod. The only thing that matters here is stability. Your camera is going to be taking hundreds of photos over quite a long time, and even the tiniest wobble will ruin your shots. It doesn't need to be some carbon fiber quality tripod, but it does need to be sturdy. A flimsy, cheap tripod will only lead to pain and frustration. And that's it. That's all you need: a camera, a lens, and a tripod. That's your ticket to the universe and to the cosmos. Amazing astrophotos are made long before you even touch your camera. A little bit of planning is what separates a fantastic night from a frustrating one. I've had a few of those. You just need to figure out two things: where you're going to shoot and what you're going to shoot. First, your location. The sworn enemy of astrophotography is light pollution. I hate that. If you're in a city, that orange glow from all the buildings and street lights will completely wash out the faint light from space. You have to get to a dark sky if you can. The easiest way to find one is with a light pollution map. There are tons of websites and apps that show your area color coded as to how dark it is. Find a spot in a green zone or darker if you can, and you're golden. Oh, and check the weather and the moon. A big, bright full moon can be just as bad as a city skyline. So try to plan your shoots around the new moon, because the moon is a source of light pollution as well. Second, your target. For your first time out, you want to pick something big and bright to make your life easier. Fantastic beginner targets in the Northern Hemisphere are the Orion Nebula in the winter, the incredible Andromeda Galaxy in the fall, or the stunning Pleiades star cluster, and there are many more. These are all bright enough to be captured with the kinds of short photos we'll be taking. A quick Google search will tell you exactly what's up in the sky for you right now. Okay, this is where the magic begins. We're about to turn your camera into a light gathering machine. Go ahead and switch that dial to manual mode. First things first, file format. Dig into your camera's menu and set the image quality to RAW, not JPEG and not RAW plus JPEG, just plain old RAW. A RAW file holds all the pure, unprocessed data from the sensor. Think of it like a digital film negative. It gives us total freedom when we get to editing. Next, the aperture. You want to let in as much light as possible. So your gut might tell you to open your lens all the way up, but most lenses are a little soft and can have weird optical effects when they're wide open. For the best sharpness, it's a good idea to stop down by one click. So if you have an f1.8 lens, try shooting at f2.8. Then we have ISO. This setting controls your sensor's sensitivity to light. Our targets are unbelievably faint, so we've got to crank this up. A great starting point is ISO 3200 or even ISO 6400. Yes, this will make each individual photo look noisy and grainy, but don't worry. The stacking technique we'll use later is designed specifically to make all that noise disappear. But one thing I would add here is that you should experiment with the particular camera you have and do look online to see what the optimal ISO level is for your camera. For example, for this camera I have here, which is a Canon 600D, the actual ideal ISO setting is 800, and I have tested it as well. So I normally use ISO 800. And now for the most important setting on your camera, your shutter speed. Since we aren't using a tracker, the Earth is still spinning. A long exposure will turn stars into ugly streaks. To keep our stars looking like sharp little pinpricks of light, we have to use very short exposures. But how short? There's a handy little rule of thumb called the 500 rule. The formula is very simple. 500 divided by your lens's focal length equals your maximum shutter speed in seconds. So for a 50mm lens, 500 divided by 50 is 10 seconds. Any longer than that and you'll see star trails. For a 135mm lens, you're down to less than 4 seconds. See why we avoid those big telephoto lenses now? Finally, your focus. Autofocus is completely useless in the dark and in astrophotography. You have to focus manually. Point your camera at the brightest star you can find in the sky. Switch on your camera's live view and use the digital zoom to get in as close as you can on that star. Now, very carefully, turn the focus ring on your lens until that star is as small and sharp as possible. Once you nail it, don't touch that ring again. And here's a special tip for you. Use a small piece of tape to really lock it down. With your camera dialed in and focused, it's time to start collecting photons. This has two parts: taking pictures of your target, we call these light frames, and taking a few special calibration frames. First, the light frames. Point your camera at your chosen nebula or galaxy. To avoid shaking the camera, you need a remote shutter or an intervalometer. This little gadget lets you fire off shot after shot without ever touching the camera. Set your intervalometer to take as many pictures as you can, one after another, at the shutter speed you just figured out. And how many is as many as you can? A lot. I'm talking at least 100, but 200 or 300 is even better. Remember, each photo on its own will look like nothing. Maybe a few stars. The magic happens when we combine them. One little thing you'll notice is that your target will slowly drift across your screen because of the Earth's rotation. Every 20 minutes or so, you'll have to pause your intervalometer, gently move your camera to get your target back in the middle, and then start shooting again. Now for the secret sauce, calibration frames. This is what really elevates your final image. After you're done taking all your pictures, and without changing your focus or settings, put the lens cap on. Now take 20 or 30 pictures with the exact same settings, same ISO, same shutter speed. These are called dark frames. They record the unique heat and noise pattern your camera's sensor makes. Next, keep the lens cap on, but crank your shutter speed to the fastest setting your camera has, such as 1/4000th of a second. Snap another 20 or 30 shots. These are called bias frames, and they capture the basic electronic noise of the sensor. Taking these calibration frames is what separates the casual snapshots from the serious photos. It will make a world of difference, I promise you. You survived a cold, perhaps it was cold, or perhaps it was hot, but you survived the dark night and you have a memory card full of what looks like hundreds of black photos. Oh no, what happened? Well, trust me, this is where it gets good. We're going to stack these images together. The best tool for this, especially for beginners, is a free software called Siril. The idea behind stacking is pure genius. The software looks at all of your pictures, finds the stars, aligns every single photo, and then it averages them together. Since the nebula is in the same spot in every photo, the light and color of the nebula gets stronger and stronger. But since the noise is random in every photo, it gets averaged out and eventually disappears. It then uses your dark and bias frames to subtract out your camera's specific noise patterns, cleaning the image up even more. Isn't that great? The process is pretty simple. You open up Siril, load your pictures, lights, darks, and bias frames into their proper tabs, select them all, register them, and then click stack, and that's it. Depending on how many photos you took, this might take quite a while, so go make some coffee. When it's done, you'll get a single stacked file. Now, when you first open this file in an editor like Photoshop or the free GIMP, it's going to look, well, dark and disappointing. Don't panic. All the good stuff is hiding in there. Your job is to stretch the data and reveal the details. You do this using tools called levels and curves. By making small, careful adjustments, you are literally pulling the faint light of the nebula out of the darkness. It's a delicate dance of revealing color and detail without making the background space too bright. This part is an art in itself and takes practice, but with every little tweak, you will see your nebula magically appearing. And if you'd like more help in how to do this, then I have a couple of videos which I've already made, and I'll leave the links in the description, so please do go check those out as well. You know, and there is an interesting thing that you can do actually in Siril. There's an auto stretch, so you can just press the auto stretch and it'll reveal all the details quickly. That really will show you immediately all the data that you have in your black image. So what have we learned in this video? You absolutely do not need an expensive tracker to get into deep sky astrophotography. The secret is using lots of short exposures to keep the stars sharp. Take calibration frames to get rid of the noise, and let stacking software work its magic. The universe is out there waiting for you. My challenge to you is this: just give it a try. Don't worry if you mess up the first time. Literally everyone does. I know I certainly did. But take what you learned here, get outside on the next clear, moonless night, and just point your camera up and try. If you do try it, I would love to see what you create. Share a link to your photo in the comments below, and do tell me how it went. And if you have any questions, ask away. I'll do my best to help you out. I answer every comment. If you found this guide helpful, please hit that subscribe button and like this video for more tutorials that make this amazing hobby accessible to everyone. Now get out there and start shooting, and good luck.